Welcome to a hard deep dive into Ready Player One.
Yeah.
We're going to journey into a world of virtual reality gaming culture and a whole lot of 80s nostalgia.
Mm.
You've shared some excerpts from the audiobook,
Right.
and I'm really excited to explore what makes this story tick, especially alongside an expert.
I think it's really fascinating how Ready Player One doesn't just create a virtual world. It also imagines the conditions that could lead to its creation,
Oh, yeah.
like the energy crisis, social unrest.
Oh, yeah.
These are all threads that kind of connect the real world to the Oasis.
And speaking of the Oasis,
Yeah.
imagine a virtual world where you can be anyone.
Right.
Do anything limited only by your imagination.
Right.
Killing Clan really paints a vivid picture in these excerpts, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He details all these distinct planets within the Oasis,
Oh, yeah.
each with its own rules and even its own economy.
Yeah.
Remember that detail about surreal estate?
Yeah.
People are buying and selling virtual land.
Yeah, I found that fascinating. It makes you think about the economic implications of a virtual world like that.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when virtual assets start to hold real-world value?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of mirrors our own world in a way.
Yeah.
Even in a virtual space,
Yeah.
there's still scarcity. There's competition and the desire for ownership.
Totally.
You got to wonder, if we ever reach a point where virtual worlds become as immersive as the Oasis,
Yeah.
will we see those same patterns emerge?
Totally. And the technology Klein describes,
Yeah.
visors, haptic gloves, it's also immersive. It
Mhm.
makes you wonder how close we are to achieving that level of virtual reality.
It's closer than you might think.
Wow.
I mean, the novel takes place in 2045.
Right.
And while we're not quite there yet,
Yeah.
the advancements in VR technology are pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Maybe Ready Player One isn't pure science fiction,
Right.
but a glimpse into a not-so-distant future.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Wade Watts, our protagonist. He's living in poverty in these vertically stacked trailers called the Stacks
Right.
in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
The Oasis is more than just an escape for him.
Right.
It's a chance at a different life.
Yeah. It's important to remember that Wade is a product of his environment.
Mm.
The dystopian reality he lives in makes the Oasis all the more appealing.
Right.
It's a world where he can level up, achieve things he never could in his real life.
Right. And then there's Halliday, the creator of the Oasis.
Right.
Wade is obsessed with him with his love of all things 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You'll recall that Halliday created this massive online contest
Right.
to find an heir, someone worthy of inheriting his fortune and control of the Oasis.
What struck me was how Halliday designed the contest.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing 80s trivia.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding the culture, the context behind those references.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Is he trying to filter for a specific type of person?
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
It's almost like Halliday created a gatekeeping mechanism.
Mm.
You have to be immersed in 80s culture to even stand a chance of winning.
Right.
Do you think it's a celebration of his own nostalgia?
Yeah.
Or is there something more to it?
Perhaps it's a bit of both.
Okay.
It's a way for Halliday to connect with others who share his passion,
Mm-hmm.
but it also speaks to the power of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Think about it. These shared cultural experiences can create incredibly strong bonds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of those vying for control of the Oasis,
Right.
there are these corporate types called the Sixers,
Mm-hmm.
employees of a company called IOI,
Right.
who want the Oasis for themselves.
Yeah.
And they aren't exactly playing by the rules, are they?
No, they aren't. The Sixers represent the intrusion of real-world power dynamics into the virtual world.
Oh, yeah.
They're driven by profit, by the desire to control and exploit the Oasis for their own gain.
Totally.
It's like this dark undercurrent to the whole contest, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It introduces this ethical question of who should control a space like the Oasis.
Right.
Should it be a playground for individual creativity and expression?
Mm.
Or should it be dominated by corporate interests?
Right.
It's a pretty relevant dilemma even in our own world today.
Yeah, it is. And Klein doesn't shy away from showing the potential consequences of corporate control.
Right.
You remember the bombing of Wade's home by the Sixers?
Oh, yeah.
It's a chilling reminder that actions in the virtual world can have real-world repercussions.
It really blurs the lines between the two worlds. It just shows just how high the stakes are for Wade.
Right.
He's not just playing a game, he's fighting for something much bigger.
And he's not just fighting for himself.
Yeah.
He's fighting for the soul of the Oasis, for the millions of users who rely on it for escape connection, and even their livelihood.
Which brings us to Wade's journey through the first gate.
Okay.
He discovers the copper key, the first of 3 keys needed to win Halliday's contest. Remember how he figures out the riddle? It's hidden in a virtual recreation of Halliday's childhood home.
Right.
What did you make of that?
I found it incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
It shows that Halliday isn't just testing knowledge, he's testing understanding. Wade has to put himself in Halliday's shoes to think like him, to understand his motivations and desires.
Right.
It's almost like a form of empathy, wouldn't you say?
I agree. It's not enough to just know the facts. You have to understand the person behind them. And that's something that sets Wade apart from the Sixers.
Right.
He genuinely admires Halliday. He connects with him on a deeper level.
And that connection is key.
Yeah.
It's what allows Wade to see the clues that others miss.
Yeah.
To understand the deeper meaning behind Halliday's challenges.
The first challenge itself is pretty intense, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a virtual recreation of the classic game Dungeons of Dragarath. Wade has to use all of his gaming skills, his knowledge of early gaming history, to survive.
It's a brilliant way of highlighting the importance of context. Halliday isn't just testing knowledge of games. He's testing an understanding of gaming culture.
Right.
Of the history and evolution of the medium.
And that's something that really resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's not just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about appreciating the journey, the evolution of these things we love.
Exactly. And in a way, that's what Ready Player One is all about.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of pop culture, of the power it has to connect us, to inspire us, and to teach us about ourselves.
It's making me want to dive back into some of those classic games myself.
Yeah.
But before we get too distracted, let's shift gears and talk about the Sixers.
Okay.
They're a constant threat to Wade, willing to do whatever it takes to win. In the excerpts, we get a glimpse of just how far they're willing to go.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
What struck me was the contrast between Wade and the Sixers. Wade is driven by passion, by a genuine love for Halliday and his creations.
Yeah.
The Sixers, on the other hand, are purely motivated by greed. They represent a very real danger, not just to Wade, but to the entire Oasis.
It's almost like they embody this fear of corporate takeover, of the potential for something beautiful and creative to be exploited for profit.
It makes you think about the role of corporations in our own world, doesn't it?
Totally.
How often do we see profit prioritized over people?
Yeah.
Innovation stifled by greed.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Ready Player One takes those real-world concerns and amplifies them, creating a dystopian future where those fears have become reality.
Right.
And it makes Wade's fight all the more important.
Yeah.
He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for the soul of the Oasis, for the right for people to enjoy and create without being exploited.
And that fight is just getting started.
Right.
The excerpts we've explored so far have laid the groundwork, introduced us to the players, and hinted at the stakes.
Yeah.
But the real adventure is still to come. I'm curious to see how Wade navigates the challenges ahead, how he faces down the Sixers, and what he ultimately chooses to do with the power he's fighting for.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back with more of this deep dive into Ready Player One shortly.
I'm excited. So picking up where we left off,
right.
Wade has the copper key.
Yeah.
And a new riddle to solve,
Yeah.
one that leads to the jade key.
Okay.
But this time, he's facing a whole new level of opposition from the Sixers.
You know, it really struck me reading these excerpts just how organized and well-funded the Sixers are.
Yeah.
They have literal armies within the Oasis, not to mention all this advanced technology. It feels like Wade is up against an insurmountable force.
It is.
What do you think?
It's a classic David and Goliath scenario, isn't it?
Totally.
The Sixers represent the overwhelming power of corporations in this dystopian future Clonline has created.
Yeah.
They can throw resources and manpower at any problem,
Right.
while individuals like Wade have to rely on their wits and ingenuity.
Yeah. You know, it makes you wonder, even in the real world, how can individuals compete with these massive entities?
You've hit on something that I think is at the heart of this story.
Yeah.
The struggle between the individual and the corporation.
Right.
It's something we see play out in the real world all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Klein takes it to the extreme in Ready Player One.
And it's especially interesting to see how it plays out in the context of the Oasis.
Yeah.
You know, here's this virtual world that's supposed to be about freedom and creativity.
Right.
but it's being threatened by the same forces that are trying to control the real world.
Yeah, in these excerpts, we see this power dynamic play out.
Right.
As Wade tries to reach the Jade Key,
Mm-hmm.
you'll remember it's hidden on the planet. Probo's guarded by a giant T-Rex.
Right, a classic.
But the Sixers, with their superior firepower, they manage to claim the key before Wade even has a chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty disheartening moment, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
It's a real blow to Wade, and I think it's meant to make the reader question whether an individual can truly stand up to this kind of corporate power.
Yeah.
Like, is it even a fair fight?
But Wade doesn't give up, does he?
He doesn't.
He knows that even though the Sixers have the key, they still need to figure out the clues,
Right.
solve the challenges to get to the next gate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about brute force.
And this is where Wade's deep understanding of Halliday and his obsessions really comes into play.
Right.
Remember the second challenge?
Oh, yeah.
It's a recreation of Halliday's favorite movie, War Games.
Oh, wow.
Wade has to navigate the movie's plot, interact with the characters,
Wow.
to find the key to the next gate.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's such a clever way of testing not just knowledge, but understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Wade has to prove that he doesn't just know the movie. He gets it.
Right.
He understands the themes, the messages that Halliday was trying to convey.
And this speaks to a larger theme that Klein is exploring in the novel, don't you think?
Oh.
Halliday, through his contest, is trying to impart some wisdom,
Yeah.
to teach valuable lessons about life, about the things that matter beyond the virtual world.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding meaning and connection in a world that can often feel isolating and meaningless.
Yeah.
Do you think that resonates with readers today?
Absolutely. I think we're all searching for meaning and connection, especially in a world that's increasingly dominated by technology. And Ready Player One offers this hopeful vision
Right.
that even in a dystopian future, human connection and creativity can prevail.
And Roe v. Wade, by succeeding in this challenge, shows that he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a skilled gamer. He's someone who understands the human element behind the game.
Right.
He's worthy of Halliday's legacy.
It's a real turning point for Wade, isn't it?
It is.
He's proving himself to be more than just a gamer. He's becoming a symbol of hope, a leader for those who believe in the freedom and potential of the Oasis.
But it's not all virtual victories for Roe v. Wade. While this is all happening in the Oasis, things in the real world take a dark turn.
Yeah.
The Sixers, desperate to stop him,
Mm-hmm.
they discover his real identity and take drastic measures.
It's a chilling reminder that the virtual and real worlds aren't as separate as we might like to think.
Right.
The Sixers bomb Wade's home, killing his aunt and several of his neighbors.
Yeah, it's a really dark moment.
It's a devastating moment, and it completely changes the stakes for Wade.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Wade isn't just playing a game.
Right.
He's in real danger.
Yeah.
And it forces him to confront the true cost of his quest.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with grief, fear, and the knowledge that his actions in the Oasis have had devastating consequences in the real world.
But even in the face of this tragedy, Wade finds strength and support in his friends.
Yeah.
He reconnects with each, his best friend in the Oasis.
Mm.
But there's a twist.
Oh, yeah.
Each isn't who Wade thought he was.
Right.
It turns out each is actually a young woman named Helen living a very different life than Wade had imagined.
I love this reveal.
Yeah.
It highlights the fact that the connections we make online can be just as real and meaningful as the connections we make in person.
Yeah.
You know, it reinforces this idea that the Oasis, despite its virtual nature,
Yeah.
can be a place where genuine human bonds are formed.
And it's those bonds that give Wade the strength to keep going.
Right.
He's each and Artemis.
Mm-hmm.
They form a plan to fight back against the Sixers.
Yeah, okay.
They realize that they need to work together, pool their knowledge and resources if they have any hope of winning the contest and protecting the Oasis.
It's a shift in strategy.
Yeah.
Wade recognizes that he can't do this alone.
Right.
He needs the help of others, of people who share his values, who believe in what the Oasis represents.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes about building a community, a movement to counter the corporate power of IOI.
The excerpts we've covered end with this build-up to a massive battle at the third gate.
Right.
Wade and his friends, along with this huge army of Gunters, they're preparing to face off against the Sixers in a final showdown. Wow.
It feels like everything has been leading up to this moment.
It's a classic climax, isn't it?
Yeah.
The underdog facing off against impossible odds.
Right.
It makes you wonder, can this ragtag group of individuals actually stand up to the might of IOI?
Yeah.
Can they overcome the odds and claim victory?
Right.
The fate of the Oasis hangs in the balance.
This is big.
It is. What are your predictions?
I have a feeling Wade is going to pull something out of his hat.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sixers aren't going to go down without a fight.
Right.
It's going to be epic.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a conversation for our next and final part of this deep dive.
Can't wait.
Okay, so we left off with Wade and his band of Gunters,
Yeah.
on the verge of this massive showdown with the Sixers.
Right.
It all comes down to this final battle for control of the Oasis.
And what a battle it is.
Oh, yeah.
The excerpts you shared describe this epic clash at the gates of Castle Anorak Halliday's virtual fortress.
We're talking spaceships, dragons, magic swords.
Yeah.
It's this wild mix of fantasy and sci-fi all wrapped up in 80s nostalgia.
Quentin really doesn't hold back on the action.
He doesn't.
There are explosions rocking the castle avatars falling from the sky.
It's crazy.
And then there's Wade piloting a giant robot modeled after Ultraman Battle in Sorrento, the head of the Sixers, who's in control of a massive mecha Godzilla.
Wow. It's pure spectacle, wouldn't you say?
It's a visual feast, for sure, but I think there's more to it than just dazzle in action.
Okay.
Remember, this battle is symbolic of a larger struggle, the fight against corporate control, against the commodification of escapism itself.
That's a great point. It's not just about who wins the game. It's about what the Oasis represents.
Right.
Will it remain a space for creativity and freedom, or will it become another corporate playground?
And Clint cleverly uses those over-the-top 80s references to kind of underscore that point.
Yeah.
Halliday has designed a contest that forces players to confront his own nostalgia.
But in doing so, he's also commenting on how pop culture evolves.
Yeah.
What was once niche becomes mainstream, then retro, and then cool again.
Yeah.
It's a cycle we see repeating itself all the time.
So how does this epic battle play out?
Well,
Does brute force win the day?
not exactly. Wade, despite being outgunned and outmanned, uses his ingenuity to outsmart Sorrento.
Oh, wow.
He realizes that the key to winning isn't just about beating the game. It's about understanding Halliday's intentions, his motivations for creating this whole contest in the first place.
It's a classic underdog victory, isn't it?
It is.
It shows that brains can triumph over brawn, that empathy and understanding can be more powerful than raw power.
Right.
What do you think Klein is trying to tell us with this outcome?
I think he's highlighting the importance of critical thinking, of looking beyond the surface.
Yeah.
Wade succeeds because he understands Halliday on a deeper level. He doesn't just want to win. He wants to honor Halliday's legacy.
And that's what ultimately leads him to the final challenge, right?
It does.
It's located within a virtual recreation of Halliday's childhood bedroom, filled with relics from game and history.
Oh, wow.
I can only imagine how exciting this must be for Wade to be immersed in this shrine to his idol's past.
It's more than just a nostalgic trip down memory lane.
Right.
This setting underscores how personal this contest is for Halliday. He's inviting the players into his own past, into the experiences that shaped him.
Yeah.
And by understanding Halliday's journey, Wade gains a deeper understanding of the contest's true purpose.
So what's the final challenge?
Whoa.
What does Wade have to do to prove himself worthy of Halliday's legacy?
The excerpts describe it as a test of character.
Okay.
Wade is presented with a choice. He could either delete the entire Oasis, a fail-safe Halliday put in place to prevent corporate control,
Right.
or he can leave it intact, knowing that it could fall into the wrong hands.
Wow.
It's a powerful ethical dilemma.
It must be an agonizing decision for Wade.
It is.
He's invested so much in this quest, but now he's faced with the possibility of destroying the very thing he loves.
Right.
What does he choose?
He makes the right choice.
Okay.
He refuses to destroy the Oasis, choosing to protect it, even if it means sacrificing his own victory.
Wow.
It's a truly selfless act.
It's a testament to Wade's character, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
He's not driven by greed or power. He genuinely cares about the Oasis and the people who inhabit it.
And in that moment, he proves himself worthy of Halliday's legacy. He doesn't just win the contest. He wins Halliday's respect, the admiration of the Gunter community, and the love of Artemis.
The excerpts end with Wade inheriting control of the Oasis.
Right.
He vows to share his power and wealth with his friends, ensuring that the virtual world remains a place of freedom and creativity, a testament to Halliday's vision.
It's a happy ending.
It is.
But it also leaves us with some lingering questions.
It does. Can this utopia last? Can a virtual world, even one built on good intentions, resist the pressures of greed and corruption that exist in the real world?
It's a tough question.
Ready Player One doesn't offer easy answers, but it does offer a hopeful vision.
It does.
It's a reminder that even in a dystopian future, human connection, ingenuity, and a love of pop culture can make a difference.
I love that.
And that's a message that resonates no matter what world you inhabit.
This deep dive into Ready Player One has been fascinating.
It really has.
It's a story that's both entertaining and thought-provoking, full of action-adventure and insightful commentary on the world we live in.
And for you listening, we leave you with this. If you were in Wade's shoes facing that final choice, what would you do?
That's a good one.
It's something to ponder as you continue your own journey through the Oasis. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome to a hard deep dive into Ready Player One.
Yeah.
We're going to journey into a world of virtual reality gaming culture and a whole lot of 80s nostalgia. You've shared some excerpts from the audiobook.
Right.
And I'm really excited to explore what makes this story tick, especially alongside an expert.
I think it's really fascinating how Ready Player One doesn't just create a virtual world. It also